Okay, so here we go. We're having a last minute little, I don't know, call it a podcast, but it's a little interview. We have got Send It Sunday or Send It sessions coming up later. We're going to feature some speed stuff, going to feature Sarah Keita, who's over in Brazil, and a little bit from here in Portugal, because we've just kicked off with the Simmer photo shoot. But let me just set the scene. I was on a phone call earlier to a friend who is, we featured on the channel actually back in February, talking about the Watersports Nomad. And he's just told me, this is almost like a blatant advert, but I think it's super useful for a few of you guys out there that are interested. So we're going to be talking about changing your life, your job, and maybe starting a career in the water sports world. So if you're interested in that, hit us up with some comments. We're going to be speaking to the Watersports Nomad himself, Chubsy. How we doing, mate?
Oh, hey Ben, how you doing? So last minute, you just caught me there when my son was on. Really good, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be on your channel. Been such a big fan of Windsurfing.TV and everything that you do. So yeah, privileged to be here, just rolling with it, running.
Yeah, like I said, we have just kicked off this last minute, but I was speaking to Chubsy earlier. Basically, if you don't know, you didn't see the video we did on the channel. Basically, if you want to just get your head start in water sports, you want your power boat, your coaching and all that, you can basically get it all in one place. So you guys, that's what you do. So if someone wanted to go straight into like a windsurfing instructor, for example, you could go on a course and basically nail everything in what sort of time period?
Well, from 0 to hero would be 6 weeks here with us in Vasiliki. Okay. Yeah, absolutely no prior experience needed. And you just need to bring with you a pen and a set of boardies. And then for the competent windsurfers, we've got a 4-week fast track, really. So we just cut that down to 4 weeks, again, with everything included. And, you know, hopefully doing it in one of the best locations in Europe to get the best experience that you possibly can as well, and obviously get the stepping stone close to getting the job.
Can I just to set this straight, your courses kick off end of May?
Yeah, so the first course is 21st of May and 28th of May is when we're running our first 6-week course. We've got a little discount on that as well, so check out the website. And then we'll be off and rolling. So we'll have a 6-week batch will come in, and then the 4-week fast track guys will join 2 weeks later. When those guys qualify in early July, you know, they'll be best placed to get jobs for the rest of that summer, you know, and they'll already be here with us in Vasiliki or in the Mediterranean to go off and get jobs. And then the next batch will start for 6 weeks. And they'll finish sort of middle of August. And then the final batch will finish with us sort of end of September time. Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, that's why we're doing this on the channel. So it is a bit of an advert, but I think, like I say before, it's a really useful advert. If you guys are thinking of changing your career, maybe you've just finished uni or actually in between school and uni, what's your most common, you know, what is the most common person who comes in to do a course like this?
I think it's likely people that are just about to finish school and looking for something to do that allows them to sort of work and travel abroad, get experience living in other countries, meeting lots of other people, having lots of fun. But we also get those guys after uni as well. So they finished uni, not wanting to go and get settled down hard into a corporate job or, you know, apartments and mortgages and stuff, and just want to go and travel. And we also get people that it's like an alternative to university, really. So, you know, looking to get started in, you know, the water sports industry, because it is actually a massive and wide-ranging industry. One of the reasons why I love this job is because I didn't know that you could make a career and get paid to work and travel the world. So I feel very grateful that I became an instructor. And then just one thing led to another. I've been able to, you know, work all over the world, have amazing experiences, meet lots of friends, you know, and still doing it. All started from becoming a windsurfing instructor. Yeah.
Which is crazy, really, because I think I want to say there's a stigma attached to being a water sports instructor, some bum on the beach who doesn't go anywhere. But I tell you what, so many of the guys that I know that have gone on to get pretty decent jobs, I've had seasons, whether it be a ski season, whether it be, water sports instructor, windsurfing instructor, or even, boats or whatever. It's crazy how that can kind of, for me, there's a really good network. The guys that do the seasons, I don't know, you meet some quite big players sometimes. It just sounds weird, doesn't it? I don't know. Like, is that
absolutely? I felt very lucky because I was able to get a job working for Richard Branson on Necker Island, and I did 4 winters working for him. And I met loads of famous people, very wealthy people, and I was mingling with all of those guys, watching and learning and seeing how they operate. And spoiler alert, they're just normal people, and it was huge learning curve for me. And it all started, as I said, from training to be an instructor. But the stigma attached, I think that's all to do with the mindset. I think that is actually going. I mean, you say it's being a water sports instructor, but I think of it as you're managing a group of people's lives in an extreme sports, constantly moving environment. And that skill set's actually really, really valuable. And you can apply that to anything else that you wanna go and do. And normally people that are into windsurfing, firstly, they're normally lovely people. So working and hanging out with them is not a chore. But they're normally pretty well qualified and good at whatever they do. You have a group of people in front of you, like take Club Vass here where we're based. You'll have doctors, dentists, lawyers, business people, entrepreneurs, all these people that are top level in what they do, but you're in charge of them. They're listening, they're looking up to you for a week, like you're the god of windsurfing, and you're going to teach them to get in the foot straps, or and you got to control them. They're a wide range of abilities, backgrounds, everything, and you got to step up and go, right, I'm the boss. You might be qualified in 7 years of medical school, but I'm in charge of your life today. And make sure you get their email addresses at the end of the week, because again, that can lead on to networking that might be your future job 10 years down the line. So it has a lot of potential to springboard people.
It's an interesting way of looking at it. So like I said, if you've got any questions at all about being a water sports instructor, like I said, you want to go on a course, you've got any questions about the course. I mean, the courses that the Watersports Nomad do are based in Vasiliki, and you've all heard of Club Vass and the stories and the characters that come out of there. If you are from that sort of Vasiliki, you end up with a nickname. Obviously, we've got Chubsy here. I don't even know people's real names. You got Whippy, as in Colin Whippy Dixon, who I do the Send It Academy with. Andy Bubble Chambers. Everyone seems to have a nickname. Is that like a thing? Everyone gets a nickname, or is it only the special people?
No, I think it's going to happen. Basically, you're going to get a nickname one way or another. And the things that stick, they tend to stick for quite a long time. And it's just all part of life on the beach. And actually, when we get new guys on the group, we very much are nomads when they all turn up. Our job is to bond them as a team, as a unit, because they're going to go through the emotional roller coasters of learning to enjoy Vasiliki all together. They're going to make sure everybody gets home as a team. And their job is to give each other nicknames during that course of going to the Wild Wind barbecue, going to the Club Vass fancy dress party, as well as obviously all the on the water stuff. And it's just part of life. And what I love about it is it isn't real life. Okay, so people escape from wherever they come from, and they get to just live in this world that allows it brings out the best in people, really, because you see them loving life in the sunshine. Everybody's happy. They're also learning a skill set. They're getting those breakthroughs in windsurfing, where they're getting that. It's just so much energy around first water start, first foot straps, and it's just such a hive of activity. That it's just such a good atmosphere of things to be in, and you just walk around and you see everybody on their best form. And again, the clients that come out here on holiday, they've saved up for 2 weeks holiday a year. It's a big thing for them. They come here, and then you're the ones making their holiday dreams come true, and they're just literally forgot about work and Zoom and all this, and they're just on the water, and all they got to think about is staying on the board for as long as possible, and it's a very special place and a unique experience, whether you do it for one season or 10 or more, maybe a few.
I was going to say,
pulls you in.
I mean, we're going to come on to that, but I've just got a few questions coming in. But like you said there, some people start thinking, I'll just do a couple of years, just a couple of seasons. 10 years later, they're still there, but they're moving up the ranks, and maybe now they're running, one of the centers, or like you started off as a windsurfing instructor, I'm guessing, or a sailboat instructor, and then you've moved into now what you're doing, which is running, the whole courses and the whole programs, which is kind of crazy. When I grew up, I always remember as a kid, I was at college or school thinking, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And I always saw the old Barbados 6 weeks, or cows in Barbados. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was flying fish or something. And I always remember seeing that and thinking, oh, I'd love to do that. And then I ended up going to Olympic windsurfing, so I didn't go down that route. But it was always something that I thought, wow, that would be so cool. And that's now what you're doing. You're offering those courses. 6 weeks in Vasiliki. You walk in as maybe a non-windsurfer, or walked in as experienced windsurfer, and you walk out being able to go and get a job anywhere, within that sort of arena. Amazing, really amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to be honest, the qualification, the piece of paper is a relatively small part of it. Obviously, you have to tick the boxes, and that's something that, from mum and dad's point of view as well, they're paying for a solid qualification on the CV. But it's those experiences, those people skills, those socializing, and, that network of mates actually that you meet that lasts a lifetime. And, I always loved, I'm incredibly passionate about getting people involved in the industry, because I've seen it so many times where people springboard off to such amazing things that they're doing, and they all accredit it to this springboard, of learning and meeting people in this environment. There's a lot of pressure on young people at the moment to be like, what are you going to do? What's your career? You need to have it figured out by 18. But this is such a great way to come out and figure out more about yourself, learn a lot of skills, and probably figure out for yourself what you want to do and where you want to be. And it's been difficult to be a teenager the last few years because of COVID and so much computers and laptops and everything involved in life that they don't come out and they don't do as much physical activity, working on their body and being healthy and being outdoors. And especially the world changing so much that, like, one of the main things to think about if you're 18 or you're not going to be 18, you need to figure out a job that you can do that's not going to be replaced by a computer, because that's going to happen really quickly. AI is all very
true.
You're going to walk into Costa and never see a person very soon, what I think, if I'm allowed to say. But I can't see any computer animated water sports instructors because it's such a constantly changing environment. It would...
It's actually very true when you say that, because we were talking about the other day, well, everyone's talking about it, AI and all this, and you're thinking, if you're a website designer or you're a whatever, you think, or even you write stuff, I mean, they do essays. AI does an essay for you. You just ask it to do it, and it does it, Right, let's go through some questions, because there is some questions coming through. Let's answer this one. So, Share Waves TV. I worked 4 years in a windsurfing school in Germany. It was a lot of fun, but not enough money, I guess, for living. Passion to teach windsurfing. Your best hobby is okay, but if you're fired at the end of each season, is that a thing? How does it work? Because again, I've never worked in the windsurfing or in terms of instructing. How does it work most years? I would guess if you do a good job, you're invited back the next year. But
absolutely, yeah. And as well, if you're experienced and you're qualified, then you're really, really in demand. So you can get a job more senior and move up through the ranks in the schools. It tends to be that your contract comes to an end, because everywhere in windsurfing, you'll know quite well, is seasonal. So here in Vasiliki, the contracts run from beginning of May till early October.
Okay, so that's what he's on about. Okay.
Yeah, that's what he's on about. So, for example, you then need to look towards your winter options. What are you going to do? As there's the Bonaire, the Caribbean options. There's Egypt, Cape Town, and also down under, New Zealand, Philippines options, Australia, or ski seasons. That's the other option of what people do, and that tends to work really, really well. And there's other things. Some people will go and do something totally different for the winter, have a break, and then be really excited to come back to it for the next summer. Or you're starting your own project. I mean, like you've got Windsurfing.TV. It's fantastic. That's alongside of what you do. And I think, there's a lot of pressure. There's all this cost of living crisis. And if you're a young person in the UK, it's absolutely terrifying how you're going to get your own house and start your own bills. And so when you come out here in Vasiliki, for example, all of the jobs will be all accommodation. Lots of them give food as well. So your money per month is you're spending money. So yes. I think if somebody said to you, like, I'm going to give you accommodation, I'm going to pay all your bills, I'm going to give you food, I'm going to give you an amazing job, and I'm going to give you beer money in the pocket, which is like 100%. I'm spending money. It's a win against cost of living crisis, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. It's not about your wages, how much you earn each week. It's about the difference between when you paid all your bills and what you've got left over, plus having a good time. So for me, it's all about mindset. But yes, you will struggle to find a job in windsurfing full time that is totally year round. You tend to bounce from the seasons. But for me, that actually makes it more fun because it changes the way you live it. So we're in Vasiliki, we're setting up, and all throughout the summer, we know that it's going to come to an end. So we're excited about it. We're setting up, and then it's peak season, but it's going to come to an end. It makes you make the most of it. Oh, get out. It's my last session, or it's this. I want to achieve that this summer, and I've got to get my Vulcans by the end of July, or I've got to get my foot straps by the end of October, or whatever. And then it all comes to an end. We all go off on our own way past for the winter. And now it's again this time of year where we're all excited for it. People turning up. Where have you been? How's your winter? How was ski seasons? How was Australia? And ultimately, we're traveling people, aren't we? I mean, you travel around the world. It's so exciting to go to a new spot and meet new people. And then,
it's cliched, but it is like a big family. Like those like I said, this time of year when the tour, PWA tour kicks back in and you see each other you haven't seen for ages. I'm going to Lake Garda next week. I'm going to see a lot of people, that I haven't seen for ages. And it is a nice feeling. Like if anyone's never had that, it's pretty cool. And it actually makes it more special that you have that gap. So, obviously you see a few people during the winter, but it's good. Let's go through some more questions because this is quite an interesting one as well. From Paul says, there's a question. How old is too old to be an instructor?
There is no age limit, Paul. All right. So I tell you, the oldest person I've had on the course so far is 67 at the time.
67.
Yeah, they absolutely loved it. Had a great time and still coming back to Vasiliki. So that record is there to be broken.
Anyone out there, come on, let me know.
Yeah, you need to be 18 years old is the youngest because you need to be an adult independently living in a foreign country. But there is absolutely no age gap. And actually, we get quite a few people that have a career break or they finish a job and they don't start the next one. And they come and just do the course because they want to spend 6 weeks learning more about windsurfing. You'll know as much as anybody. If you get told to teach something, it makes you learn it better from your own point of view. You think about it in lots of different ways. You explain it in all these different ways. And, as well, getting that buzz of learning something yourself for the first time, it's 10 times that when you teach somebody else and they get the buzz and you've created that first harness, first foot straps experience, or even getting on a board and they're buzzing.
That's an interesting
very rewarding.
I do that obviously in Cape Town with the Send It Academy. We teach people to forward loop or wave ride or whatever. And I can honestly tell you, like, you think it's good learning, when you learn a move yourself, you think, yeah, that's really good. It is. But when you teach someone else, there is definitely a magical feeling when you see the eyes and you see the buzz. Maybe they've been working on this thing for ages and it finally clicks and you're the person to give them the little key. It's a cool feeling. I mean, anyone who's never taught or coached, I think it's definitely worth experiencing that little moment. Right, let's have a look. More questions. Dave Rin said, Sharewave makes a valid point. Who's on about the seasons, I think it is. I teach windsurfing as a hobby now out of passion, and I try to do something positive for the sport, but I don't realistically see how to make a living out of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think, Dave, that is it's valid. I think making a living depends on how much you need for a living. But I think, as I said, when somebody says to me, I want to work and travel around the world, I say, right, what's your strengths? How do we play to it? Because just being a windsurf instructor and teaching windsurfing will be great for a few summers, but you have to add a little bit extra onto it. So it's like, what's your extra skill set that you can do to make yourself employable, you know, and keep yourself entertained. So, you know, there's centers, they'll need social media management as well. They'll need marketing. They'll need someone to man the front desk. They'll need people to write content for the website. You know, it's all these different opportunities if you want to make yourself employable. That's the way to go. You know, moving up in the ranks, becoming more senior, running the team. There's recruitment to do all the winters round, you know, as well as managing and bookings and all that kind of stuff, you know, equipment, procurement and selling. You know, it's there's lots of other jobs that are not just in crowd windsurfing. You know, for example, the day-to-day jobs here, we're always doing other things, going to the airport with a clipboard to meet and greet, you know, hosting the parties on the Friday night, driving the rescue boat.
And
so
I guess it depends where you are in life. You know, everyone's at different stages. If you're wanting to settle down with a family and, you know, you're probably not looking at traveling around the world. You know, if you're just coming out of uni or school or that gap year or whatever it might be, or you're having a midlife crisis, or heaven forbid, you know, everything's broke down and you're looking to get away from wherever you are and just have a change of life and cruise around the world and just, I don't know, live it up for a bit. In, you know, maybe you've had a stressful life and you want to tone it down a bit. Maybe you've got a bit of money in the bank, you know. I guess there's a whole heap of different scenario situations which could lend itself to being someone who's a little bit nomadic and wants to travel around and enjoy themselves, but at the same time, not totally kill the bank account.
Yeah, and you've got, I think if you're in a position where you're relatively low or no strings attached, you're in the best position to enjoy it and make the most out of it. And if you, like you said, if you've got bills to pay and you want to settle down, or you've got family support, then it could be, you know, stressful to put all that pressure on that wage as a windsurfing instructor, because as we said, the top level, like the numbers in terms of the wages would be seen as relatively low when compared to the UK, but it's all of the things that come with it in terms of the accommodation, the experiences, the food, the travel costs, the flights and the transfers, everything's paid for you to travel around. And, you know, you never know where it's going to lead you to. Yeah. You know, you'll know yourself. There's lots of people that work for the PWA, you know, they're not all teaching instructors, but if they started off being an instructor, it would be a good place to step towards a job, you know, on the World Tour, for example.
I would definitely echo that. Like, networking wise, I actually think it is the best place to network. You know, somewhere like VAS, just the amount of different people you meet in terms of instructors, other instructors, and that kind of bond you build with that. I see it with you boys, you know, with Bubble and Colin and all those guys. Probably, yeah, well, we'll be friends for life. You know, the massive, and those friends for life are all dotted around the world. So now, you know, you want to go to Tenerife. Like, Cole, you know, it's crazy how that can kind of come out. Actually, you know, I'm kind of jealous I didn't do a season. I'll be honest. I'm like, I look at you
still
boys
time, Ben.
Like,
still time.
I know. I keep thinking that. I'm looking at Paul asking what's the upper age limit. I'm thinking, well, you know, still time.
I think if I could I just answer to Dave as well, really, if you want to make a living out of anything, really, in windsurfing or anything yourself, it's to start your own business, whether that's a private coaching or whether that's you start a small center, you know, and you have your own paddleboards and you have your own SUPs and you have your own windsurfers. That to me is the way to go forward. But again, you wouldn't be smart to start your own center without doing a few years teaching at someone else's center to start with, you know, all that stuff. Or, you know, private coaching is a very, very good one, because as we know, there's lots of people out there with lots of money. They're time poor but cash rich. They just want to come in and be told what to do, and you take care of everything. So if you can just find a few of those people, and they're, you know, that they can pay your bills, it would work very well. You obviously need to come from a place of experience first, though. But
Paul, I think following up from Dave, says, Dave, there are places where the season is year long, and those areas would be where you want to apply to. Yeah, so I think you've mentioned a few of those sort of places before. We've got from Norway, start using a hip harness. Well, more on the channel in that. More recently, I actually did a video yesterday about this. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. Dave, also it seems to be difficult to get back into the system. I was a level 4-5 windsurfing instructor, sailing SI and PB instructor. I looked into requalifying and was told I'd have to start from zero. Has there been a change in qualifications? Is that how it is? There's a standard now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what system Dave is running. We run the RYA system, which is the Royal Yachting Association, from the UK originally, but definitely by far the most worldwide accepted scheme. And it would literally be a case of Dave sending me an email and saying where he's at and when he last did a ticket or whatever. So, you know, the powerboat the powerboat license lasts for life, but the first aid expires every 3 years. You know, so it's all a little bit of box ticking, and that is why we do everything in one go. We say, guys, come to us, we'll do everything, we'll tick you off as we go along. We'll actually give you chances to practice in the rescue boat, and when people finish the course, they're literally ready to step off with us and step into a beach hut and be really useful members of staff, you know, here with Club Vass or any one of the other schools around. So yeah, RAA system is what we do, and obviously it's well recognised. So there isn't really ways to bypass stuff. It's not, you can't just rock up and you seem right, I'll sign you off. You do have to go through a few motions to keep standards high, really.
Yeah. I think just following up here, it says, yeah, same here, Dave. This is from Paul. I worked in the Canaries for a while, very enjoyable and always had money. But as guest has said, it's a lifestyle and contracts, which I guess, that's what it is. But as you said, you can choose where you go. And as I know in life, I didn't really have a very solid plan, as you can probably tell. But I really feel like this podcast, or what we're doing now, is you just got to do it and see where it goes. You know, and you don't know how it's going to go. Like this podcast, for example, even if we affect two people, or two people think, you know what, I could do with, and that's the little bit of knowledge, or they hear something here which kind of sparks something. I think it's all good. It's all good. I don't think it can be any. If you do a season somewhere, you never know where that could end up leading. You know, maybe you meet someone who you're instructing, and they go, "God, this instructor's got some qualities that I could do in my business," which I know has happened before. You know,
it literally happens on a weekly basis, and that's why, you know, again, I love my job because I love seeing people go and get started on their path, and it's like. It is quite interesting because you'll get, like, day one, somebody will get off the bus really shy. They won't even look at you. They'll barely shake your hand. You know, they won't talk to anyone. Give them 4 weeks in Vasiliki, you know, the hair's gone blonde, they're rock star, shirt off, tan, like, whoa, you know, how you do? You're like, what happened there? You know, and it's great to see. As I said, it brings out the best in people. And the random example, but the photo behind me is a lovely girl called Bethany Mercer who works for Global Shots now, and Bethany came here and did a 0 to hero Watersports course with Flying Fish at the time, and she now runs a video media company, and they only work with clients like Musto, Land Rover. You know, they're at the top level, and it was an elevation of being a windsurf instructor, stepping up a little bit. Picking up the camera, taking great photos of windsurfers and extreme videos and that kind of thing. And then it's just moved on and progressed naturally from there. And it all started from being a windsurf instructor. So, and that's where, you know, that's where they're at right now, which is just a classic example, really.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, just while we're on, so for anyone who is interested, you know, to get your tickets, I'm just having a look through your website right now. Give me some prices. Give me what we're looking at. You know,
okay, so if you go on courses, and I guess so windsurf and SUP instructor course. Start with that one. So that's the full shebang. So that lasts for 6 weeks in Vasiliki. For that time, you get unlimited windsurfing equipment hire at Club Vass, with the brand new equipment that we have here every year, with, you know, paddle boards open at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we sail with the beaches open till the sun goes down. And from that course, everything being in order, you'll be qualified as an RWA windsurf instructor and a paddleboard instructor. You'll also get e-foil taster session. You get an e-foil lesson, if you like, here with EVAS, and use of mountain bikes and guided mountain bike rides and e-mountain bike rides. So, you know, along that way, along those 6 weeks, we'll tick off everything that's needed. So if you scroll down, this is quite a good thing to look at, is what's included.
Okay.
So this is literally everything we could possibly create here to get you into board sports and actually get you experienced.
Okay, so give me.
Well, so obviously the powerboat license is very important. That is a photo ID license, lasts for the rest of your life, and we also give lots of experience to drive the boats and rescue people. Something that people don't necessarily get experience of, but it's obviously very important. When you apply for a job, they say, great, you can teach windsurfing, but rescuing people's just as important, probably more. First aid course we do, as well as scenarios. So you've got to be responsible for everyone's lives. How are you going to deal with an emergency? Heaven forbid, a big issue on the water.
It can happen, that's just being realistic.
It can, at the end of the day, we're in an extreme sports environment. We're taking people out of their comfort zones. If they work in an office 9 to 5 and then come here, they are going to be, out of their comfort zone. So you've got to be prepared to deal with all that. As much personal sailing as you can possibly handle, and as much coaching as hard as we can push you. So for somebody who's coming in 0 to hero, my aim to them would be, you need to learn to water start before you leave Vasiliki, because once you get that skill unlocked, you're an independent windsurfer. That's a skill for the rest of your life. You can go to Tenerife, go and see Colin, and rent some kit and sail in the waves. You could go anywhere. You can sail any board because you can get on it. You don't need to uppull, and off you go, really. But we do video coaching, head zone coaching. We've got GoPros, everything we can possibly do to improve your personal windsurfing. And ultimately, you need to enjoy the experience of being an instructor. It shouldn't be stressful, because why do we do it? You do it because you want to have a lovely old time. You want to do a season. If you're having a nice time, the guests and people around you will have a nice time. So we try and make sure that it's a fun experience. You might intend to go and do the next 10 years in the industry, but you might only be doing it as a career break. And if people aren't having fun, they're also not learning. So that's what it's all about, a pleasurable experience. Within 6 weeks, we can get everybody through all of that stuff. New for this year, you also get all of your photos included in your course fees from the one and only Protography, who Miles is out here snapping away. And so you get some evidence to show your mum what you've been up to and make all your friends jealous on social media, as well as drone clips and video clips here from VasVids, another guy, Owen, a great guy here who's doing all the videos and stuff. So again, that's included in your course to take away some mementos. And then we just work with the individuals, people who they'll come and say, right, where do you want to go? Do you want to work with kids? Okay, so we can tell you some companies to apply for. Or do you want to work with adults? Most people want to work overseas. So if they don't get a job here at Club Vass, we'll talk to them about the Nielsen's, the Mark Warners, Pelagoni clubs, Trek Adventures. We'll point them around and say, oh, you want to go somewhere windy? Okay, well, we'll tell you to go to this place, because within the team here, we have a lot of experience to put people in the right direction. And we do references for people as well. So obviously I've been here for about 14 years now. So I know a lot of people, so I can give people references to get them started and get them off and going. Because I was given help. Yeah, people helped me to get jobs where I wanted. And I was very lucky. I was so stoked 14 years ago when I got my first job for Clubhouse. I can still remember it. So I've been lucky to get that. So I always want to help people get going.
Okay. Well, cool. I think that wraps it up. Like I said, just a quick one today. If you are interested in getting a course, Watersports Nomad, just go on the website. All the details are on there. And a sneaky plug, there is some discount at the moment if you book before the first one, which is 20 May, somewhere around
21st of May and 28th of May, yeah.
28th of 25th of May. So if you are interested, like I said, just have a look on the website, think if that's something that might interest you. Like I said, I thought we'd put it on the channel because obviously we're a windsurfing channel. There's people out there who might be interested in this sort of thing. And these guys are doing a great job and in a great location. Like I said, I can only hear good things coming out of Vasiliki. So I'm looking forward to following this up. And like I said, in the future, maybe we do a podcast with Chubsy just to see his whole progression throughout the thing. I think it'd be an interesting chat. just to see how you can evolve and how it all works. But let's see that one. The wind is picking up here, so I've got to go because I've got to go and do some photo shooting for Simmer. And I've got to send it sessions for later. So stay tuned to Channel Chobsy. Cheers for joining.
Ben, thank you so much. Yeah, and anyone that's got any random questions at all, because I know obviously it's a big commitment of time and money as well. So send us your random question, and we'll get straight back to you. All right, because I follow your channel, it's fantastic. But hopefully there's another side of the industry where you can get paid to travel and work abroad and do all of the amazing stuff without being, a professional athlete. Like on the world tour, there's another way of doing it. Yeah,
totally agree. And on that, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'm sure Chobsy is going to monitor this video, let's say, and answer any questions that you have, or you can email them directly. So either one of those works. And we'll keep in touch. Like I said, if anyone's got any questions or other videos or other areas of the sport that you want to cover, because we don't just want to do professional windsurfing here. We want to hear from the guys in the industry. We want to hear from the brand managers, the shapers. That's how I see it. We're going to be doing more of that in the future. So yeah, stay tuned. Cheers, Chobsy. Have a good day. Hopefully you've got some wind. And we'll see you on the other side. Right.
Cheers, Ben.